When people think of hiking in Seoul, they think Bukhansan. Now, most of them take the direct, easy way up to the top, but there is another way. The Hidden Wall, a ridge of exposed granite and death-defying drops, with some spectacular views and a final staircase set to finish you off. I'm about to show you why this is the best route to take, in my opinion. Let's get into it. Bukhansan awaits. We're starting the journey from here. From Gupabal station, take the Yangju 37 bus and get off at Hyoja Idong. Look for this sign and then follow the path uphill. It will lead you straight to the trailhead and the beginning of the Hidden Wall course. The hike starts beneath a canopy of green trees, gently ascending as the elevation slowly builds. It felt almost strange to have the trail all to myself. Bukhansan National Park draws nearly 5 million visitors each year, one of the most visited national parks on Earth. And yet, this is exactly why this trail exists. A hidden, quieter way through the mountains. The weather couldn't have been better. Sunlight filtered gently through the trees, and the temperature was just right, cool enough to keep the sweat at bay, at least at this elevation. Okay, the landscape starting to open up now we've come a little bit higher. Now, Bukhansan is 836 meters high at its tallest point on Baegundae Peak, and at that height, temperatures are considerably lower than at the ground. And today is 3 degrees, so it's not too warm. So I'm not too sure on the conditions at the top, but just in case, we've brought our crampons in the bag that go over your shoes and dig into ice if there is any. I continued the hike and found an old fortification. I'm not sure from what era, but it's cool nonetheless. Now, the Bukhansan region is absolutely littered with fortifications all over the place, and they date back to the Joseon dynasty. Not this one in particular, of course, but Seoul has always needed a heavy line of defense on this northern section, on this mountain range of Bukhansan. Now, obviously this one behind me here dates back to something a lot more recent, but yes, Bukhansan is an extremely strategic defensive part of the Seoul border. As I gained elevation and began to break through the tree line, the wind slowly started to build. As it did, so did the incline of the route. The higher I went, the better the views started to become. Oh. So surely this route will come out of this forested area and really open up into something special. I can't wait to show you guys when we're up there, but just know it is truly amazing. Now, with the weather as good as it is today, I'm hoping for some spectacular views, but only one way to find out. Let's go. I carried on climbing toward the viewpoint I'd promised. Pine trees against the hazy blue sky, the city faint in the distance. I was heating up by then, so I stopped to take off my jacket. A lightweight down jacket is perfect out here, warm when needed, but easy to pack away. All this wilderness, right on Seoul's doorstep. You really can't get closer to a capital city than this. Bukhansan National Park sits just minutes from the city, yet still it feels a world away. Oh wow, that is a big step to get up. Hooah! I carried on, soaking in the views at every chance. From here, the views roll on for miles and miles over the neighbouring peaks. Beyond this point, the granite began to dominate. The trees faded back, and the mountain revealed its raw stone. You can see behind me that the path has kind of stopped and it's now just become these giant granite slabs. This trail is starting to open out. Not much longer till we see some real beauty. Alright, I have to admit, I wasn't alone after all. I ran into these 3 mountain cats playing along the trail. They'd chosen the perfect viewpoint. That ridge in the background, I'd be scrambling over it soon enough. I took a short rest here. The landscape was too beautiful to be ignored. But just around the corner, a little further ahead of me, awaits the view I have been waiting for this whole hike. Okay, now this is the truly epic part of this hidden wall course in Bukhansan. Just behind this camera right now is a view unrivaled by any other course in Bukhansan. Take a look at this. Wow. The landscape was so immense, I could honestly have just stayed here, staring at this for an hour or two. There is not a soul up here. Truly remarkable. I can guarantee you all the other routes are pretty busy right now, but this hidden wall course surely has something unique and splendid to offer. So this view up here is absolutely incredible. As you can see, there is a bit of a spine of rock, this ridge knife's edge up to the top, and this is the way we are going to be going. So I'm going to take a couple of moments up here and really take in this scenery, but I just wanted to quickly mention that I bought these new hiking shoes the other day. The K2, which I think might be a Korean brand, not sure. K2 Fly Hikes. They were about 240,000 won, but it's too early to tell you just how they are right now, but stay tuned. I'm thinking of maybe doing a little review on these, but so far I'm quite liking them. Quite good grip, yeah, very lightweight. I did come across another hiker. He was climbing this rock here, which was aptly named Skull Rock for obvious reasons. I switched over to my action cam to get these more
precarious shots and the wider angle you so desperately need to capture the views of these mountains. I continued on my journey, heading towards the spine rock in the distance that I will be shortly climbing over. I took a minute to stop and stare.
Gonna head up this way, over that ridge line. We're in for a bit of a trek now, but we're almost to the top.
Now, if heights aren't your thing or big sudden drops, there is a path that runs alongside this, a more safer route. But I know I'm going to get some hate for this, but don't worry, everything I do in this video I'm 100% comfortable with. I feel safe at the time, and I wouldn't do something if I didn't feel safe. Like that jump. Maybe.
Fantastic.
I took a quick look back to see the rock I was standing on just 10 minutes prior.
It is so bloody gorgeous up here. I can see for absolute miles in pretty much every direction. Really makes you appreciate living in Korea. Oh wow.
There's something about a big steep drop that kind of just makes me want to go and have a look over the edge.
Crazy. The wind is pretty intense. Take a look over here. This bit of rock looks like a half dome or the North Face logo. Now, I'll give you 10 points if you can tell me what yellow fruit this rock is named after. Difficult one to guess, I know. In case you're struggling, that's banana rock, for obvious reasons. Yeah, boy.
I enjoyed this scenery while I could. Just round the corner, I'd shortly be dropping some elevation and heading back into the wooded section before I started the final ascent up to the top.
So, the trail now goes up a little bit more and drops down into the valley just over there, in which you lose some elevation and then follow a sort of stream waterfall path up and hit some stairs, which takes us basically to the final ascent point for Baegundae Peak, and then we join the main path with the rest of the hikers. Now, the ground is frozen solid up here, so I'm not sure there's going to be any water running or any waterfalls of any kind, but if it's frozen, then that'll make for something pretty awesome as well.
This peak here and Insubong, the one just behind it to the left, are very popular rock climbing destinations for people here in Korea. Something I'd definitely like to try at some point while I'm here.
Quite steep, this part. Okay, so we've just come down and we've entered this wooded section again. Now, this is where I want to point out that the path is not so much of an obvious route when it comes to this point. Once you're on this bit, head up. There's a big V shape in between the two peaks of the mountains. You want to go just straight up over these big boulders and you'll eventually find a path, but it's not too well laid out. The last time I was here as well was just following a rainy day, and this was all flowing with a bit of water, a stream running through. But today, bone dry, directly up these boulders.
This part of the climb is fairly demanding. It's not too technical, but from an endurance point of view, it had me puffing and blowing by the time we reached the next section.
Now, for arguably the worst little part of the hike, just when you made it to the top of the boulder field, you've got about 50 stairs to contend with that are bloody steep. And there is Seoul. Okay, we've just come from this direction and we've joined up with the main path to hit Baegundae Peak just up here. So from here on, we're not too far from the top. Let's go get it.
This mountain here is Insubong, the one I mentioned previously. However, we're now the other side of it. This face here is a popular climbing route, as is the one to the south, Mangyongdae. From here you can see the Taeguki, the Korean flag, flying at the peak of Baegundae. As you can see, this route has become a little bit more busy, but still nothing too crazy. Less people than I was expecting.
So here we are at the top of Bukhansan summit. We have done it all 836 meters high. That is the peak. Let's get down off the peak and I'll talk to you more down there. Okay, so we made it to the peak, which as you can see is just behind me here. Now, it's actually quite empty up here compared to some times I have climbed Bukhansan, but still, busy or not, the views are amazing. They always are, especially on a clear day like today. But this hike, absolutely 10 out of 10 would recommend. The Sumunbyok course, the hidden wall. Some amazing views on it, some challenging parts. I would say probably not beginner friendly, more of a intermediate hiker challenge and definitely an endurance test towards the end. But it's been a great hike and we're going to leave it there. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like, comment your favorite mountains in Korea, and maybe I can make some videos on them too. Hit that subscribe button and I'll see you soon. See you guys. Peace.